Hello, this is Golden Arrow, a Sokoban game about falling arrows. Well, yeah, not just golden ones, but falling ones. The music is not something I expected from this game. It felt a lot more temple-like to me, so it comes as a good surprise. However, I'm gonna quickly erase slot 1 first. Actually, gonna erase all the slots because I know I've already played the first world of the game. I realized that I think my commentary during that first playthrough wasn't quite adequate, so I want to re-record me playing through the first world. There's not going to be that much on the first world. That's a problem, but yeah. What I do know is that when you actually solve the puzzles, there won't be any music. So contrary to what's going on now, you won't hear anything special. So yeah, I will have. Oh, there's still music at this point. I will have some lo-fi going on in the background. So yeah, no music going on here. I will have some lo-fi in the background. There you go. Medieval lo-fi. I'm gonna credit the creditor. What? I am the creditor. I'm gonna credit the channel that plays this music in the description. So yeah. Okay. Let's start. So this game, it's basically a Sokoban-like about falling arrows. You play as a white arrow, and you have arrows that you need to direct to the end positions like so. For example, this arrow over here needs to go in there. You can push everything around basically. Anything that isn't a wall you can push around. And arrows will basically fall towards in the direction that they point up to the nearest object that isn't something that you cannot pass through. So it will not push any push objects, but it will fall until it hits them. So yeah, in this case, they will fall all the way to the point where they hit a wall, or to a point where they hit a push object here. They also fall against you, and you count as a pushable object, so you can use that. Yeah. And the other thing to note is that pushing, you cannot move while they move, so they basically fall all the way to the ground before you can continue moving on. Yeah. There's also this zoom in option in case you ever need to zoom in. But yeah, okay, in this case, the first level just looks like this. You push away the stoppage object, and then you move away, and the arrow falls in place. Alright, level 2 is a bit more complicated, but the idea is still there. Also, every level has a title. This one is called Pistol. What was level 1's title called? First Arrow, I see. So yeah, in this case, you want to put a block in here to act as a bridge that you can push this across. Alright, there you go. So Archer, yeah, I can see that our playing area is in the shape of a bow. This one I think is pretty reasonable as well. You don't want to push a block out of the way, because in doing so you're basically preventing this green arrow from going in. You want to push the green arrow out. And you want to do the same here, and then you can multi-push. So yeah, multi-pushing is a valid strategy in the game. Wooden Racket. Okay. So if I remember correctly, the solution looks something like this. Did it? No. Wait. Yeah, I've already forgotten what the solution looked like. It was something like this. No, it was something like this. Yeah. So you basically free out everything and leave a block on the right side. The block is the thing that needs to hold up this arrow as it moves upwards. Okay, Criss Cross. So in this case, you just have to move all the blocks out of the way, so that the blue arrows can fall directly into the holes. I call them holes. They're really more just endpoints. So yeah. And obviously, it's bad to push a block into the hole because then you just block the way. In this case, I think I want to pull off something like this. No. Okay. I think I want to do something like this. I think to get you out of the way, get you out of the way, get you out of the way, and then I think we're done. Yep. Okay, very nice. Lollipop. Okay. So here, I think we move this out of the way, and then you have this. Is there a problem with this? A little bit, but I think it's resolvable. If I can push this way, I think... No. This one is in the wrong spot. Okay, so I want to move this here first so it falls into the arrow when I move away. Yep. Okay. And Goldilocks. I don't know why this level is called Goldilocks. It's just 3 arrows. I guess that might be the reason why. Okay. I like the music. It's very atmospheric enough. It feels like the right type of music to be playing this game to, I guess. Okay, so this one I did have a bit of trouble trying to resolve. So I'll zoom in here to like showcase what I think the solution was. The idea is that you can use your body as something that can hold things up. Well, I say up in this case, it's basically against the falling direction. So yeah, there'll be a bit of confusion going on here and there. When I say up, you know, yeah, there will be confusion. So hopefully not too much. Alright, so I think we can solve this naturally because I don't remember the solution. I remember that it is possible to get all 3 of these in a row, like so. I remember I can push this in here, so this block will act as a blocker. I'm not sure if you can see my cursor. If you can, that'd be very nice. That also adds 1 more arrow to the screen. But this does a few things. It holds these 2 arrows up so I can take its place later. But it also moves this arrow down here so I can push it up to its spot. Now when I replace this block, I can push up and hold these 2 arrows. And that solves it. And finally, PathFinder. Alright, this one is more of an open world-ish puzzle. It's just finding a way around and making sure that this arrow doesn't get lost. The losing conditions are basically hitting these walls, because then they can't be pushed up anymore. It's also a losing condition if a block is against these walls and an arrow pushes against it, because there is no way to move the block in such a way to free the arrow, to step underneath the arrow. Okay, so now I can do this, I believe. And I can move this block to hold the arrow up here. I can now put the arrow on and move it onto this block, and now I can do some Sokoban to place this block there as a bridge, and the arrow goes over. Nice. So yeah, that's it. That's all for World 1, and now it is time for puzzles that I have not solved before. Starting with the Sacred Temple. Okay, Truss Bridge. Alright, I've not solved this before. Let's see if we can solve this right now. So, Truss Bridge makes me think that I probably want to do something like this, maybe? To hold up you as I push over. I can move these around. In fact, with any 2 blocks down in the bottom row, I can move 1 singular arrow as far or as close as I wish to. Okay. I also note that one thing I could technically do is place a block down here and then do this to hold it up, so my own body will hold up the arrow. But that can probably only be useful as a final step when this arrow is underneath its goal, I think. Because otherwise, you know, my body is too occupied holding this up, I can't push anything left or right. So I'm basically stuck in this column. So yeah. Also, holding Z is a continuous undo. Can you undo a restart? You cannot undo a restart, okay. Good to know. That might be relevant in the future. Oops. Okay. So I definitely need this here, right? Yeah, it looks like I do. I could theoretically do this. But this block gets kind of stuck. I could theoretically maybe do that to get this block out. Maybe that's useful. Yeah, I can sort of see it. Yeah, can I? Maybe I can. Yeah, maybe this is fine. Is it? It's a bit high. And there's no way to push you down. But falling is valid. Is falling a good idea? So like, I could do this. And then I can sort of do this to get this block to be somewhat free. Now, the idea is that if this block were below here, then I can push this away and get that free. But in this case, it's a little bit challenging to do that. Okay, what if I did... what if I did this? Well, okay... I mean... It's kind of scuffed. Yeah, okay, it's still kind of scuffed, okay. I feel like the goal was not to do that. Okay, hold on. No. Wait, no, I think we're done, aren't we? Because I can hold this up and I can lower it as I want. Okay, yeah. I was already done. Ooh, multi-blocks. Hey, I haven't seen this before. Okay. So we need to build our own bridge now. I'll just zoom in. Is there a setting for automatically zooming in? Also, the music's up again. Sorry, you have to deal with this, like, interference of music going on. The settings don't have an automatic zoom, unfortunately. The guide doesn't tell me anything. It just tells me zooming in is the X button. Unfortunate. Alright, I'll zoom in. So yeah, multi-pushing is still valid. We want to get one arrow there and one arrow here. Okay, I think the idea that I want is to separate the two arrows, right? Can I do that? Right now it's a bit hard to separate the two arrows, especially if I had this sort of setup going on. Maybe this is fine to separate the arrows. I can push right here. I can stack them. And this separates the arrows. Separates them, but like I can't really bridge over anymore. The blocks kind of got separated. They got stuck in a corner. Can I separate these blocks? Somewhat, but one of them will get stuck against the wall. I can do this sort of thing. Well, the thing is that there's never really enough ground to bridge this entire gap. Like... yeah, there never is enough ground, so... how would I bridge over? I suppose I can do that. That's not very nice. Okay, what if I chose to stack the arrows again? These already stacked them pretty badly. I guess something I could do is like... I can separate them by doing this sort of thing. Yeah, so I can sort of like separate them first by doing this kind of stuff. Well, okay, we're not done yet, but I think the general idea I wanted to do is to have this arrow not be in the way. The arrow's always gonna be in the way though, isn't it? No. Hold on. If I had you be on the edge here... I think we're done. That was very interesting. That was completely not what I expected the solution to look like. But okay. This is giving me Snakebird vibes, to be fully honest. But, we'll see. Alright, a single block to maneuver everything. I think the block either has to be here, which means I have to push it down into this row, or I have to be here. Is that even possible? I don't think so. I think I want an arrow here, here, and here, while I'm on the top and pushing down. Yeah. Okay. So I have to do like a swap here. Also now the arrows can never be in this row. So the row is purely for traversal. Okay. I mean, this move looks very obvious. It gets rid of an arrow that might block the way. But I wonder if there's ever going to be an issue. I can swap these positions by doing this sort of thing. Kind of. I can do it again, right? Not quite. Not quite. Yeah, I can't really do it quite. I can't really do it again. Because the third one's gonna have some issues getting over. I can't push this block against this column because the block cannot be extracted. Okay. That's okay. And it's not possible to do this trick again because one of these arrows are blocking the way. Yeah. So I can't quite go over to the other side. And like, this is kind of bad. Okay, did I already fail at this point? I'm not quite sure. Like, it kind of feels like this is good though. I don't see any issues with doing this. Like this, could this arrow have been useful? To hold things up maybe? Maybe to hold things up. But I don't see it. Maybe the block has to do something else. But the block does have to go along this exact line. Yeah, nothing can push the block, so like, it can't really get here from this hole. It has to go down this way. That's why I think that I need to get all the arrows out of the way first. This also feels really bad. Hold on. I want to do this. I'll push you up and then in. Is that bad? Kind of. It's like if I push you here, I get very stuck. Because I can't go from the underside to push you up. And I'm pushing it to the left here, so it doesn't seem to be very good. Doing this is bad, right? It looks bad. And then, yeah, once that happens, I get stuck. So, are we faced with a Sokoban issue here? I think we might be. Okay, right. The final goal is to be able to have one blue arrow here. What if the goal was something more like to have these arrows stack? Because if I had the arrows stack, I might be able to do something useful. Like, how do I get the arrows to stack though? Like, suppose I wanted the arrows to stack. So I have to push you up, but then, you know, it doesn't really work once I let go. Yeah, can I actually afford a stack? Like, that's a stack. But why do I want a stack again? I don't know why I wanted a stack, really. I'm trying to figure out if there's a vision I can try and follow. Like, to get an arrow here, here, and here. These two arrows already have to be in place, and the last arrow have to fall here. Is that true? If I already got the last two arrows to be here and here, respectively. That might require a stack, but I don't think it requires a stack. I think it requires a bit more than that. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't really quite know about a stack. This one is stumping me a little bit. Because I can't just do this, right? This will form a stack, but and we get a bit of a problem here, where there's no way I can, you know, do anything. Right? Pushing down here is completely bad. The box starts up there anyway, so it's like I do really have to clear out the entirety of this column to get it into here. I was thinking if I could get a box here already, I could afford to push these arrows into this row. But putting a box here would already have solved the problem basically. So that's the goal, I guess. Yeah, I know. What in the world am I doing? Is there any reason why I could be here? I don't think so. Like, the only way is if there was an arrow here that held up another arrow here and I pushed that arrow up into its goal. Either I pushed it down here, but that wouldn't work because there would be nothing there where I'm standing. So like, I don't think that's it. I don't think that's quite it. Nope. Okay. I wonder what blue Marlin means. Like the title of this puzzle. Also, is this definitely true? Is this definitely going to work? Like, is that definitely the first step? I feel like it would be. Feels quite bad to let it fall, huh? So, I mean, but the problem is that if I really tried to save the... Oh, maybe this is fine. No, but like, this is the exact same problem that we had. Did I change any? Oh. Wait. I can do this and technically never have to go into the bottom chamber to push down. Maybe that's useful. Right? Maybe? No, because the pushing down doesn't... What's the problem now? Is it this arrow here? I think this arrow is the problem. Like, okay, pushing right is bad. Pushing right always bad unless I can clear out. Yeah, this is no way to swap these two anymore, I don't think. As it feels like there isn't any way to do it. That's bad because it doesn't really work. Yeah, so you can't intermediarily solve this. Okay. Let's try that again. I find it interesting. The singular review that reviewed this puzzle game said the first few walls were too easy. And like, I just think that's an interesting statement, given what I'm doing right now. Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. Maybe there's a... Yeah. Interesting that I can't push down here. I mean, I can do it here. But I basically just swapped the two arrows, which doesn't seem very good. No. What else can I do at this point? I can do this. Is this... No, this is not what I wanted, right? The box still can't actually be there. It has to sort of be... like... It has to be bright. It has to be below both of those arrows, I think. So the question is, how can I swap them around like that? It's like, okay, let's see if I can try and figure this out. Right now, this is what's going on. And there lies the problem. Which is that if I try to get this to work, I'm essentially stuck. Because there's no way to push this block out without getting something else stuck. Which means I'm stuck. Because if I did this, yeah, that wouldn't really work. So how can we circumvent that? If these two blocks started... Here they started one higher. It really wouldn't help. The point is that these two blocks must now swap positions. But how could I have gotten that to work? What else did I need at this point? Did I need the help of a second arrow? If I needed the help of a second arrow, I probably didn't want to... I can stack these. That's kind of bad. Yeah, I mean, like, this doesn't feel like there's really much of a place where swaps can happen. If I try to do anything here to push up, like, that just doesn't let me in. And the block is stuck. I need the block saved. So the goal is block gets here, down here. Block gets down here how? Very likely it's just the block is underneath the arrows. As in underneath in terms of falling direction. So on the left of them right now. But that requires upward pushes, which can only occur like so. And so if I were to have them... How would I deal with two arrows at once then? Is it possible? Kind of. The point is that the last arrow needs to be on the block. And I'll be holding the second last arrow up with my own body. Is that possible? Maybe. It's like... I want the block to be... here, sort of? Okay, so the idea now maybe is... to always keep one of the blocks, one of the arrows up there, so this can happen. That's not quite it. It's like I want the second arrow to be there, but I think it's fine maybe. If the idea is always to keep... So I want an arrow on my right. So I'm holding it up. Is that even doable? What? Is my vision accurate? I don't think my vision is possible. Is there any reason of pushing this way? No, right? Well, it lets you do that kind of thing. That's technically valid. Maybe that's what I want. Yeah, maybe that is what I want. Just to put an arrow here first. Then I can deal with these two arrows without much issue. Yeah, okay. But this still blocks the way, doesn't it? I mean, technically, I think it does. Okay, but if I had it held up here, maybe that won't block the way. So on this, I think that's it. No, but I don't want this arrow to be in that slot. Oh, then that's a problem, I think. Because that arrow will be in that slot. So if the other arrow goes down here, then we have a problem. Maybe. Right? Okay, hold on. I think I want to keep working on the idea of pushing an arrow down here instead. The idea is that the arrow can only take up this spot, which means nothing else can fall in here first. That might be a limiting factor. So like this arrow can only stay there, which is a problem. That forces one arrow to be stuck on this area, on this spot. And then we get the exact same problem basically. With even more restriction because that arrow can't be down here. I'm thinking if there was an arrow here and another arrow here, would that work? But the problem is that how do I get that to work? How would I get an arrow here and an arrow here? For an arrow to be here, we need to bridge over. So there needs to be something here. And it can't be me. And if there's something here, it has to just be an arrow. Because that object can't be extracted. Okay. I don't know what this is. What's the goal I want here again? I don't quite know. It's like the ability to push this down, I guess. It's kind of what I want. But like there's no real way to get that to work. So like the only real way I can think of to do it is this sort of thing. And then we get a bit stuck. Yeah. I don't know why I'm still trying to figure out if the box can go down there. I'm pretty sure the box cannot be here. But there's a lot of restrictions on the box movement though. I have to like kind of like weave my way around all of these arrows as they fall. Seems a bit awkward that I have to do that. I feel like we've been stuck on this for a while. Which is very awkward for this to be like the third level of a second world. Am I just not thinking right? Am I completely missing something maybe? Missing a key idea. But the problem is, yeah, this is just the biggest problem that I have right now. I can't get past this setup. How would I get past that setup at all? I mean, if this were here, then like... Yeah, I could get past the setup. But then I have another arrow to worry about. And the arrow can't take this path. What? Wait, no, yeah, no, that's nothing. That's nothing. Oh, wait, what about this? I didn't even realize this was a thing. Wait, but I've done it. Oh, that's awkward, but sure. Yeah, okay, there you go. Don't know how I got here, but yeah. Ta-da! Okay, I would say that probably has to do it for this episode. I don't know if I can hold on to any more of this. Like, yeah. It's just, the puzzles seem a lot harder than I expected them to be. But hey, that's fine. I love a good challenge. So yeah, we're gonna continue doing this next episode. The music's coming back. Yeah, so we'll continue with Sacred Temple, and then after that we'll do more stuff. I'm pretty sure like there are very few other elements in the game. It's only arrows and I think there are other things, but very few other elements in the game, which I think is kind of cool. I don't see what else there are, honestly. I'm just looking at the trailer right now. There are other elements. I won't spoil to you what those elements are just yet, though. But yeah, alright. I think that's gonna do it for this episode. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you guys next time. Bye bye.